past life, I confessed to her, but she demanded I humiliate the top student. Reborn, I correct my mistake. In my past life, when I confessed to my childhood sweetheart Maria, she told me to go and humiliate the top student, Willow. She said, if you can make her eat the leftovers on your plate, I'll be with you. In that instant, I realized I had been reincarnated back to 15 years ago. Filled with excitement, I ran towards Willow and slapped $1,000 into her hand in front of the whole class. Willow, with your looks, it's too demeaning to work hard outside. Why don't you be my private tutor? This girl, who would become a business magnate in the future, was now destitute, struggling just to get by, like a lamb waiting to be slaughtered. But now I was destitute myself. Only money could do something for her. Chapter 1. George, make her eat your leftovers, and I'll be your girlfriend. I snapped back to reality, seeing Maria raise an eyebrow, her tone full of mockery. A group of rich kids around us laughed and egged me on. Go for it, George. You've been chasing Maria forever. This is the first time she's given in. I've always hated that stuck-up Willow. So what if she's pretty and smart? Exactly. No matter how capable, she'll still end up working for people like us. Their taunts felt like boulders crushing my chest, making it hard to breathe. Maria and I lived in the same high-end neighborhood. She was my childhood sweetheart, and those rich kids were also friends I'd grown up with. They always acted superior, leveraging their family's power. Bullying classmates was routine for them. Although I never participated, I never stopped them either, because offending them could affect the family business. I just needed to protect myself from getting hurt. In my past life, after I confessed to Maria, she gave me the test of offering Willow the leftovers, promising to be with me if she accepted. I knew it was wrong, but blinded by youthful infatuation, I did it. I gave Willow $2,000, she took the money and ate the food. From then on, she avoided me like the plague, always walking away quickly with her head down. I didn't care, my eyes only on Maria. But after graduating college, everything collapsed. George's father, Robert Miller's company went bankrupt. He committed suicide by jumping. George's mother, Susan Miller, was diagnosed with cancer. Maria betrayed me, got pregnant with someone else's child, forced a divorce, and kicked me out with no degree, no skills. I asked my friend Mark to help me find a job as a valet, surviving on valet and luggage tips. When Maria found out where I worked, she'd often bring her new boyfriend and friends to humiliate me. George, don't say I'm a heartless ex-wife. She'd often say, my boyfriend here wants to hear you bark like a dog. Bark once, and he'll give you $300. Every time she had a new boyfriend, she'd humiliate me the same way. Mark wasn't any better. He'd often bring that old group of friends to make fun of me. George, kneel down and shine shoes. Finish and I'll give you $100. I'm drunk and need to vomit, George. Kneel down and catch it with your hands, vomit. I'll give you $101. I once thought, how could anyone live on $100 a day? But now, even when insulted like this, I could only force a smile and say, thank you, rich kids, for your generosity. Dignity? What was that compared to money? One time, they even dared to publicly force me to kiss a 60-year-old rich woman. Just then, Willow appeared. Elegantly dressed, she led me away. I didn't even dare to look up at her, only staring at her diamond heels and the polished floor, which reflected my shameful, trembling form. I thought she would seek revenge, but she didn't. Instead, she paid for George's mother, Susan Miller's medical expenses and comforted me, saying, everything will get better. But how could it get better? The same day she paid for George's mother, Susan Miller's medical expenses, George's mother, Susan Miller, fearing she'd be a burden, also jumped. I had lost George's father, Robert Miller, and now George's mother, Susan Miller. Willow kept me by her side, saying, from now on, I am your family. I told her I wanted to revive George's father, Robert Miller's company, and she didn't hesitate to finance and support me. Whenever I hit a bottleneck, she was always there. She was intelligent and kind, always protecting me. How could I not fall in love with her? But every time I expressed my feelings, Willow would hint, I don't plan to get married in this life. I couldn't describe the feeling, only awkwardness, heartbreak, and even feeling unworthy of her. She worked herself to the bone. Her company had just gone public when she collapsed and was diagnosed with late-stage liver cancer. She said she hated the smell of disinfectant and didn't want to stay in the hospital, moving instead to the mansion by the river. I wanted to stay with her, but she pushed me away with harsh words. Yet after I left, she cried harder than I did. I pleaded with her, "Willow, don't push me away." When I went to see her, she was emaciated, unable to even get out of bed. But as soon as she saw me, she covered her face. "Don't look, I'm ugly." In the end, I wasn't by her side when she passed away. I didn't even get to say goodbye. Her lawyer told me she left everything to me, but I didn't want the money. I only wanted her alive. I climbed 3,000 steps to a remote chapel, connecting to the 3,000 steps, and prayed for her happiness in her next life. Unexpectedly, on my way down after praying, I was hit by a car. When I opened my eyes again, I was back in senior year. Chapter 2. Looking at the healthy, vibrant Willow, my eyes welled up, and I suppressed the urge to rush over and hug her. I carried the leftovers towards her desk, holding back the excitement in my heart. "Willow, how much do you make handing out flyers every day?" "Sell all the flyers to me as scratch paper. I'll give you $1,000. In my past life, she got cancer from overwork. This time, I would never let her work so hard. Willow looked up, her delicate face full of coldness. "What kind of scratch paper costs $1,000? I only make $200 a month." I got anxious. "I'm not kidding, I'm serious." I'd heard she always kept the flyers in her desk to hand out after school, so I wanted to just pay her directly. But it was too late by the time Willow reacted. I opened her desk and pulled out a lunchbox. Inside were only half a dry roll and pickles. She wasn't eating at the cafeteria for lunch at all. I froze, a sour ache rising in my chest. The whole class burst into laughter. Willow trembled, snatching the lunchbox from my hand, shoving it back into her desk, her face as pale as paper. I quickly apologized. "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to, Willow. How about this, be my tutor? $200 an hour." She was very proud and would never directly accept money. I just wanted an excuse to give her more money so she wouldn't have to work so hard. But Willow said with suppressed anger, "I may be poor, but every bite of food I eat is earned myself, not stolen or snatched, George. I'm not a plaything for you rich people." With that, she stood up and left. I didn't understand why she was so angry and instinctively wanted to chase after her, but Maria blocked my way. She laughed so hard tears came to her eyes. "George, you're something else. The last in the class asking the first in the class to be his tutor. That's hilarious." She wasn't wrong. I was indeed at the bottom of the class. To her, my request probably just seemed like I was mocking her. No wonder Willow was so angry. I regretted it terribly. Maria's friend Sophia and even Mark were slapping their desks, laughing hysterically. Mark said, "Look at that poor face." I'm dying of laughter. Someone from a rundown neighborhood like that will probably end up selling themselves. Seeing their ugly faces, a surge of anger rose within me. I grabbed the lunchbox and flung the leftovers at their faces, then smashed the lunchbox onto Maria's head. "Are you eating sh*t out of your mouths?" Maria's face was livid. "Are you crazy?" I shot back. "I'm sick of you guys bullying people, only picking on the weak. You make me sick." Their faces turned black with rage, but they were speechless. I didn't care about them and ran out to find Willow and explain, but by the time I found her, class had already started. She sat in the second row, I sat in the back. Even speaking softly, we couldn't hear each other. Frustrated, I tried passing a note, but the chemistry teacher caught me. The teacher yelled, "George and Willow, if you don't want to listen, go stand outside." Willow was always a model student. This was probably the first time she'd been reprimanded, let alone punished. A wave of snickers swept through the classroom. I saw Willow lower her head, looking sad, and a wave of guilt washed over me. I whispered, "Willow, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to get you punished. I really want you to be my tutor. Will you?" She replied, "If you really want tutoring, it's not hard to hire a retired master tutor." Why would you need a poor student like me? Willow moved over, putting distance between us, clearly thinking I was mocking her. Chapter 3. I knew words alone wouldn't work. The more I talked, the colder Willow's attitude became. But I didn't blame her. In the past, I had never stopped others from bullying her. In her eyes, I was no different from them. You can't rush a good thing. I just had to take it slow. So I had George's father, Robert Miller, talk to the school and apply for a scholarship for Willow so she wouldn't have to hand out flyers for tuition and living expenses anymore. Before, to save time, she'd often eat dry bread in the classroom at noon. I thought it wasn't nutritious, so I had the butler send her an extra meal every day, but she didn't want to owe me a favor and kept refusing. Now that I had a chance to live again, I not only wanted to save her, but also become someone worthy of her. Only then could I rebuild George's father, Robert Miller's company, and protect my parents. I started shamelessly pestering Willow with questions. At first, she gave me the cold shoulder, but eventually, she got annoyed and threw her notes at me, telling me to learn on my own. And I actually did learn. Gradually, when Willow realized I wasn't messing around, her attitude softened considerably. One day, she was being harassed by punks outside school. Without thinking, I rushed up to protect her and ended up getting beaten up along with her. But from then on, our relationship finally started to thaw. After the next monthly exam, my grades improved a lot, and I happily invited Willow out for pizza as a representative casual meal. The pizza, as a representative casual meal, was delicious. In my past life, I was used to feeding her, so I subconsciously picked up a piece of pizza as a representative casual meal and offered it to her lips. Someone nearby immediately started to tease, "Oh, feeding your girlfriend? That's so sweet. I'm going to get cavities." "George, do you like Willow?" Another person laughed. "Seriously, not even the couples in our class are as affectionate as you two." Just then, Maria, Sophia, and Mark walked in. Her face darkened. She turned and left, saying, "George, you're really something. Don't come looking for me anymore." I didn't chase after her like before. I just smiled and said, "Willow is beautiful and smart. Isn't it normal to like her?" Willow gripped her chopsticks and whispered, "George, stop joking." I said, "Seriously, I'm not joking. When others tutored me, I couldn't learn anything, but I can understand when you teach me. Please help me study. I want to do well on the college entrance exam. Even if I can't get into the same college, I want to be in the same city as you." This was almost a confession. Mark, who loved to tease, whistled and slapped the table, laughing. Willow's face turned bright red, and she stammered, I'll think about it." Then she ran away as if her life depended on it. I knew I was a goner. Even her fleeing looked incredibly cute to me. Back at school, Willow's face was still red, and she could barely meet my gaze. I didn't want to pressure her, just gently reminded her to eat lunch. That afternoon, the first class was PE. The coach wasn't sick for once. I went to the equipment room to get a volleyball, and Maria followed me in. She said, "George, you really have guts. You said you wouldn't chase me, and you didn't. Now you're clinging to a poor girl like a lovesick puppy. You're not actually serious about her, are you?" I smiled. "She's smart, independent, and kind. It's normal to like her." Maria sneered. "Don't give me that. You've liked me for years. How could you suddenly fall for someone else?" "I get it. You're just jealous because I'm close to others, using this country bumpkin to make me mad. You still like me in your heart, right?" Her words made me feel sick. Just as I was about to argue, I saw Willow standing at the door, expressionless, her eyes cold. In that moment, panic washed over me like a tide. Chapter 4. In all this time, I had never seen Willow look at me with that kind of expression. My right eyelid twitched uncontrollably, realizing something terrible had happened. I shoved Maria away and forced a smile, trying to explain, but Willow just said, "Excuse me," and turned to leave. Maria said dismissively, "Good thing she's sensible. Now that she's gone, let's talk properly." Saying that, she stood on tiptoe, trying to kiss me. I was furious and slapped her hard. I wanted to kill this vicious woman. I had finally started to mend things with Willow, and she ruined everything. Maria's face was twisted. George, is this your way of trying to hold on to me? Looking at her smug face, I couldn't believe I had been so blind in my past life to fall for her. I gritted my teeth. Don't flatter yourself. I wouldn't be as disgusted if I ate sh*t as I am when you try to kiss me. Get lost. I didn't have time to argue with her. I went to look for Willow, but she was clearly avoiding me. During group activities, she stayed far away from me, preferring to be isolated rather than in a group with me. After class, she hid in the girls' restroom, and I couldn't follow her in. It wasn't until after school, under the curious eyes of many classmates, that I finally stopped her. This time she didn't run, just looked at me calmly. You come from a privileged background and have many options, but I'm different. My family is poor, and the college entrance exam is my only chance. Please don't drag me into your rich kids' love games. I quickly explained, don't listen to Maria's nonsense. I haven't liked her for a long time. Approaching you and helping you are all because I like you. Her tone was flat. I don't date in high school. I had just started to speak when she interrupted, let's talk about it after graduation. Do you need anything else? Her voice was calm throughout, but her attitude was colder than ever. Just then, Sophia and Mark walked by, their voices full of mockery. Don't get ahead of yourself. George is only interested in you for a while, just using you to make Maria mad. You hang out with him for a few days and think you're important? The allowance he casually throws away is enough to feed your whole family for a year. Their words were incredibly nasty. I trembled with rage. Who do you think you are, insulting Willow like this? Apologize now. Mark's face turned pale. You want me to apologize to a poor worker? I stared coldly at him and Sophia, enunciating each word. I said apologize. Don't make me say it a third time. They didn't dare to argue. Though reluctant, they could only mutter apologies and slink away. Willow looked at me. Thank you for standing up for me, but you really didn't need to. Doing this will only make them target me more behind my back. Her tone was flat, betraying no emotion, but I saw a shoe print on her school uniform, and my throat tightened. I'm sorry. I just wanted to be good to you. In my past life, I only knew you had a hard time, but I never truly cared. I had no idea you were suffering this much. She said faintly, thank you, but it wasn't necessary. With that, she left. I watched her retreating back, feeling the distance between us grow wider. My chest ached dully, making it hard to breathe. I didn't approach her rashly again, but the next time Maria and her two friends bullied her, I grabbed a chair and smashed it, completely crushing their arrogance. Afterward, my parents chewed me out and cut off my allowance. Many people said I was crazy, but I didn't care. At least now, no one dared to bully Willow anymore. Because of this incident, Willow came to find me on her own, looking somewhat conflicted. You didn't have to go to such lengths for me. I looked her in the eye. Seeing the person I like being bullied, I can't just stand by. That was too blunt. She instantly blushed and quickly changed the subject. I heard you're studying with a retired master tutor and staying up late studying. I'm sorry, I misunderstood you before. I grinned. If you really feel bad, then from now on, the parts one don't understand in class will be your responsibility to explain. Willow paused, bit her lip, and nodded in agreement. Okay. Actually, asking her to be my tutor was partly because I wanted to get close to her, but I genuinely needed her help too. I wanted to become a better person so that when my family went bankrupt and my mother got sick in the future, I wouldn't be as helpless as I was in my past life. With the help of Willow and the retired tutor, my grades steadily improved. At this rate, getting into a top college on the college entrance exam was not a problem. No matter which college Willow chose, I would be in the same city as her. Chapter 5. 15 minutes before the college entrance exam English section started, Willow hadn't shown up. I called her, but her compulsive gambler father answered. He sneered, "You're the rich kid my daughter mentioned, right? Someone named Maria gave me $300 to make sure my daughter couldn't take the English exam, so I tricked her into coming home and locked her up. How about this? You give me $1,000 and I'll let her go to the testing center." I gritted my teeth and asked, "How much?" $1,000, he said. You transfer the money, and I'll take a taxi and send her over right away. We're close to the testing center. It'll take 50 minutes to get there. But they won't let anyone in 15 minutes after the test starts. You decide. Thinking of all Willow's years of hard work possibly being ruined by that bastard father of hers, I was so angry my legs felt weak. I had to lean against the wall to stand. She had already suffered so much. Why did fate have to torment her like this? Just as I was despairing, I received a timed text message from Willow. This is a timed message. If I don't arrive at the testing center on time, don't worry, I already have guaranteed admission to Capital University. I just wanted to try for top scorer in the state. I heard the prize money is quite generous. Miller, good luck with your exam. You got this. Her tone was light and airy. It turned out that even tricked into returning home by her father, she already had a backup plan and hadn't even told me in advance. I was both angry and anxious, but also relieved. I quickly rushed into the testing center. Fortunately, English was my strong suit, and the test wasn't difficult this year. I finished quickly and immediately went to find Willow after the exam. After many twists and turns, I finally arrived at a dilapidated rundown neighborhood and found her house. The shack looked like it could collapse at any moment. Inside was even worse. The window was broken and hadn't been repaired for years. The tables and chairs were all wobbly, and there wasn't a single decent piece of furniture. The bed was built with bricks and planks, covered with a few old cotton clothes and a broken mat. I heard that anything that could be sold had been sold by her father for money. Even the tuition money she earned working hard handing out flyers had been stolen several times. When I arrived, the police had just rescued her. She was covered in injuries, barely able to stand. Her father had also been arrested for illegal detention. I rushed her to the hospital, looking at the bruises and wounds on her body. My throat ached as if it had been burned. I wanted to help her examine her injuries, but she blushed and stopped me. Don't cry. It just looks scary, it doesn't actually hurt. I gently pressed her leg, and she sharply gasped, her face turning pale. I frowned. You call this not hurting? You. I choked back a sob and asked, knowing he was a bastard, why did you still go back? She softly countered, why does it hurt you more than it hurts me? I couldn't hold back any longer. I squeezed her hand. Because I like you. You know that, don't you? Her body stiffened, her cheeks flushed red, and she didn't speak for a long time. I gently shook her hand and repeated, answer me. You knew he would hurt you. Why did you still go back? Willow bit her lip. She didn't answer directly, instead saying, did you know? Gambling is only punishable by a $200 fine and a few days in detention. But illegal detention is different. It can be up to 3 years in prison, and even longer with assault and abuse. I deliberately provoked him into hitting me. She had always been very calm. Even when bullied at school, she only frowned and never showed such intense hatred. I stared at her in shock, realizing for the first time the sharp edge hidden within this girl who was always silent and... She smiled bitterly and asked, do you think I'm terrible? Scheming against my own father. Relatives always said I was manipulative since I was little, and no one wanted to take care of me. If you hate me because of this. I abruptly pulled her into my arms. You should have told me sooner. I have 1,000 ways to put that bastard in jail. You didn't need to take that beating. I had sworn to protect her in this life, yet I still couldn't prevent the harm from happening. Willow stiffened in my arms for a long time before gently hugging me back, her voice trembling. George, don't be too good to me. I'm afraid I won't be able to let go. I lowered my head and lightly kissed the top of her head. Then don't let go. I originally intended to confront Maria, but found that she had given Willow's father cash long ago, leaving no evidence. But that didn't mean I would let her off. I went straight to the Johnson family's house and tore off her disguise in front of Maria's parents. Mr. Johnson, your secret mistress and illegitimate daughter? Maria was the one who arranged to handle them. Mrs. Johnson, do you remember that godson you sponsored? Maria is pregnant with his child. Oh, right. Your company lost a major project recently, didn't it? Because Maria is dating the heir of a competitor and wanted to please her little boyfriend. Your whole family, from top to bottom, is rotten. Not a single good person among you. After I left, the Johnson family was in chaos. Soon after, a bruised and swollen Maria was dragged by her parents to apologize and even tried to propose a marriage alliance. George's mother, Susan Miller, immediately cursed, "You want my son to marry a faded flower like you? Look in the mirror. What do you think our family is? A spare tire recycling center." George's father, Robert Miller, even grabbed a knife and was about to rush forward. The Johnson family members fled in panic. In their rage, my parents decisively cut off all business dealings with the Johnson family, even against the objections of the shareholders. Watching all of this, I finally breathed a sigh of relief. In my past life, the Johnson family had harmed our family, dragged us into corrupt practices, causing clients to lose trust in us due to substandard products, leading to cash flow problems and bankruptcy. By breaking ties early this time, we finally avoided that disaster. Half a month later, Willow's injuries were mostly healed. The class organized a graduation trip, and I insisted she come. She hesitated, saying, "I already owe you too much. I really feel bad about letting you pay again." The truth was she didn't have money, but I didn't want her to miss out on this memory. So I pulled her into my arms and kissed the corner of her lips. Have you heard the saying? You owe too much to ever repay. At worst, if you can't repay me, you can marry me. Her face instantly turned red to the tips of her ears. She clutched her clothes and mumbled softly, "Okay, I'll go, but don't touch me randomly, and don't call me that in public." Her voice was so soft it was like dripping honey. My throat tightened, and I couldn't help but hold her tighter, kissing her over and over until her lips were swollen and she begged me to stop. Only then did I reluctantly let go. Chapter 7. Ultimately, Willow agreed to travel with me. Everyone in the class went, except for Maria. The white sand on the beach was soft and warm. I held her hand and walked towards the sea. The waves gently lapped at our ankles, ticklish. Everyone was laughing and playing, taking pictures and splashing water, but there were always discordant voices. Someone said snidely, "They say people only become scheming after entering society, but some people know how to hook a sugar daddy before college." Another person chimed in, "Don't talk nonsense. George chased Maria for years. He says he's changed his mind, but who knows? He might get tired after a few days." Exactly. Rich people aren't stupid. How could they really be with a poor girl? It's just for show. Marriage is about being from the same social class. I let go of Willow's hand, about to argue, but she stopped me, turned to face everyone, her voice calm yet firm. "Yes, I come from a poor background, but I will work hard to make myself worthy of him. Even if he stops liking me in the future, it doesn't matter. I can promise that I will never stop liking him." Her eyes were as clear as crystal, and her sincere demeanor left those waiting to see her make a fool of herself speechless. The rest of the trip went smoothly, and no one dared to speak ill again. But I could feel that Willow still felt pressured by the difference in our backgrounds. So I video called George's father, Robert Miller, and George's mother, Susan Miller. "Mom, Dad, this is my girlfriend. She earns her own tuition and living expenses and was first in the class. Isn't she amazing?" The camera suddenly turned to Willow. She instantly blushed to the tips of her ears and stammered a greeting. "Hello, Mr. Johnson, Mrs. Johnson, I'm Willow." George's mother, Susan Miller, waved from the passenger seat. "Hello, future daughter-in-law. So self-reliant and outstanding, you're wonderful." George's father, Robert Miller, drove and envisioned, "You two should both study finance. Later, Willow can help George manage the company, and we old folks can travel the world." Facing my parents' enthusiasm, Willow was so nervous her forehead was sweating. After hanging up, I teased her, "You've met your future in-laws. Should I meet your mother-in-law now?" She took out her old cell phone, which took a long time to load a photo. She gently traced the screen with her fingertip. My mother was deaf and mute. She earned money by screwing bolts in a factory. Every time my father beat her, she couldn't scream. Looking at the woman in the photo, I felt as if I had been struck by lightning. In my past life, my parents went to the suburbs to discuss an acquisition. They passed a group of punks harassing a deaf and mute woman. They pushed her onto the road, and she was hit by George's family's car and died instantly. I would never forget that face. It turned out she was Willow's mother. No wonder Willow had feelings for me in my past life, but always refused to accept me. There was such a tragedy between us. And today, my parents were going to the same area to discuss demolition. They would pass through there around 11 o'clock. The more I thought about it, the more terrified I became. My hands trembling, I called my parents, but no one answered. Chapter 8. Just as I was trembling with anxiety, the call finally connected. George's mother, Susan Miller's voice was worried. "Son, why are you calling so many times?" I said urgently, "That road in the suburbs is really chaotic right now. Tell Dad to drive slowly, no faster than 40 miles per hour." Although my parents complained about driving too slow and being honked at by cars behind them, they followed my advice. 10 minutes later, George's father, Robert Miller, braked sharply. George's mother, Susan Miller, cursed angrily. "What is wrong with these kids today? Pushing people onto the road? Are they crazy? Good thing we were driving slow, we almost hit her." "George, call the police quickly. I'm going to check if that lady is okay." Hearing George's mother, Susan Miller's words, I finally breathed a sigh of relief. My knees gave out, and I slowly slid down the wall to the ground. Willow quickly helped me up. "What's wrong? Are you feeling unwell?" I said hoarsely, "I'm fine, just a little tired." If I hadn't reminded them in time, George's father, Robert Miller, might have become a murderer, and I would have become the person Willow hated most in this life. She said softly, "Then let me help you." I looked down at her clothes, which were covered in dust, and remembered she was a germaphobe. I couldn't help but say, "Your clothes are dirty." But she shook her head. "If it's for you, it's okay." She gently put her arm around my waist and slowly led me back to the crowd. The surroundings were packed with tourists, noisy and chaotic, but leaning in her arms, I felt a sense of security I had never felt before. The college entrance exam results came out, and I exceeded expectations, getting into a top college. My parents were overjoyed and held a celebration dinner for Willow and me. At the banquet, George's mother, Susan Miller, bragged to everyone she saw. "They say dating in high school ruins your studies, but look at my two kids. They motivated each other and both did even better. My son worked his butt off studying just to keep up with his girlfriend. Willow got guaranteed admission to Capital University, and now my son got into a good college too." On the first day of college, my parents drove us themselves. First, they took a bunch of photos at Capital University to show off, then took over 100 photos at my school, worried we wouldn't be comfortable living in a dorm. They also bought 3 apartments between the 2 schools and let us pick the most convenient one to live in. In her freshman year, Willow started a business, and I was her investor. With her beauty, charisma, and ability, she quickly made a name for herself. Even with her humble background, she attracted countless advances. But she always politely kept her distance. Whenever she had free time, she spent time by my side, cooked, played games, and watched movies. Friends always said, "Willow is beautiful and considerate. George, you're so lucky." But she would seriously correct them, "No, I'm more lucky to have met George." After graduation, the Johnson family's company completely collapsed. In my past life, they had stepped on our family to get ahead, stealing clients, and enjoyed several years of prosperity. But this time, without our family as a stepping stone, their core projects failed one after another, and they quickly declared bankruptcy. Creditors blocked the door, and they didn't even dare to leave their house. Meanwhile, Willow and I were busy planning our wedding and didn't have the energy to pay attention to the Johnson family's fate. At the wedding, Willow was crying uncontrollably. Friends laughed and took pictures of her wiping away tears. She choked out, "George, I may have said it 1,000 times, but I want to say it 1,000 more. Meeting you is the greatest luck of my life. I truly, truly love you." As the wedding march played, I held the girl in my arms tightly, looking at the tears sparkling in her eyes. I suddenly remembered that snowy day in high school when I first saw her stubborn gaze. 2 lifetimes, 2 reincarnations, we finally walked out of regret and misunderstanding, learning love and growth in each other's light. It turns out true redemption isn't correcting past mistakes, but walking hand in hand towards a broader future, and this time, I wouldn't miss out again.